Into another edition of the Fantasy Addicts Fantasy Football Podcast. We are coming at you live on Twitch.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
And this is a special day. We are live streaming on Football's Eve with St. Nick over here, just ready to pass out those fantasy football presents to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Tell them what we're talking about today, Nick.
We are doing a week one preview. We're going to go game by game and kind of break down the basically fantasy relevant players on each side and maybe get some sit options as well.
All right. I am excited. Yeah, it's happening. The football season's going on. I got my teams all drafted. I'm in 5 leagues. How many leagues you doing, Nick?
I'm in 3 leagues. I think that's enough, plus maybe a little side action with some sports betting.
All right, so I'm in, let's see, all the leagues that you're in then.
You are,
all
plus
right.
some of your own.
So you can enjoy second place in 3 leagues.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Again, I am, in my 5, I am the champion of 2.
Does it feel good to be a champion? Yeah, it feels good to be a champion.
You know, I don't like to dwell in the past. I like to move on and try to grow a little.
I plan to continue to be the champion and maybe add the other 3. So
we'll see.
Let's see what we got. We will jump in. We will go right into the matchups of the week. We'll start with the Thursday night game, which is tomorrow.
It is.
And it should be a good one. I'm excited. Yeah, the world is excited.
Everybody is going to
America
go nuts.
wants football.
We want it.
All right, we got the Houston Texans at
Indeed.
the Kansas City Chiefs. So why don't you start? Because you've got a couple players. Why don't you take the Texans side and I'll take the Chiefs side? You talk about the Texans.
Well, we're living in the post-Hopkins era now for the Texans. So
Houston, we have a problem.
Exactly. I don't know if we have a problem, though. Deshaun Watson has not had an offensive line in the past. He continues not to really have an offensive line. So he's going to scramble. He's going to throw. And whoever's open, whether it be the 2 weeks Fuller's available or Brandon Cooks the 3 weeks he's available, I mean, I think they'll be relevant. But tomorrow night, again, we've had no preseason. So there's no, really expectation for everything to go seamlessly. So I'm kind of curious how
I don't
tomorrow's
know,
gonna go.
man. If I'm a Texans fan, I look at that team.
Oh, I made a mistake.
And, I think David Johnson, I personally feel like he's not going to have a good year. I didn't take him in any of the leagues I drafted in. I think that he's just doesn't have what he used to have. He might, be Carlos Hyde-esque where he gets the volume and, reaches 1,000 yards, has some receptions. But I don't like him. I think Duke Johnson is there. He's the same kind of, receiving option where if they use him, you don't think they're going to use him at all?
I don't know about usage, but I don't think you can compare those two players based off past history. Like Hyde has been, efficient, I guess, but David Johnson was a top 3 option for a few years. Absolutely was.
Man, he wasn't great last year. He's had injuries in and out throughout his career, and I think people have just been chasing, that one great year he had where he was like the running back one.
He was nuts.
Again,
he was really good.
Texans. Oh,
I immediately regret this decision.
Shouldn't have got rid of Hopkins. I like this team. I like Deshaun a lot better with Hopkins, but hey, they've got Brandon Cooks. Oh wait, he's hurt. So he's been struggling with a quad injury. Doesn't look like he's going to go. If I had to guess now, I would say Brandon Cooks doesn't go. I did take him late in one league just because I thought there's that chance. I also took Will Fuller in a league because I was just searching, like, if I can get, in this late round, the number 1 wide receiver for Deshaun on the Texans could pan out for me.
You're calling him number 1?
So he would be the number 1. It'll either be, I believe, if Fuller and Cooks are healthy, one of the 2 of them will be the number 1 wide receiver on that team. Not a number 1 wide receiver. Well, again, it depends because Will Fuller, he's got that just boom potential. If he can stay healthy. So I have him as my 3rd wide receiver on a team on a 3 wide receiver league. And I feel pretty good about that. If he was my wide receiver 2 or my first wide receiver, I'd feel not good at all.
Less keen.
Yeah, but again, so it's all about the price of where you could get those guys for the Texans. But they will be on a number of teams. And then in our Dynasty League, I picked up Kenny Stills because if Brandon Cooks is out, so if you're in a deeper league or if you're in a Dynasty League, Kenny Stills, I believe, is 28. He had some good games for the Texans last year. This is his second year with the offense, or I guess he wasn't there the whole year last year. He came from Miami.
He got traded partway.
So he's a guy that at this point in the year, you're probably not having to reach low enough where you go into Kenny Stills as a guy you're going to start. But again, it's someone that I will be interested to see how he plays. We were talking just before the show about in our league, because it's a Thursday night game. If I have Kenny on my bench,
hey Heath, what's going on, man?
And he plays well, then I can drop him, and pick up another guy before the actual games on the weekend.
Right. Little trial period.
So again, that's just a little.
Speaking of, do we need to drop players on our team?
On our co-managed team, we actually had our draft where we were able to draft more players than we actually had spots on our roster.
Right.
And we have to drop them before we can pick up players, or even before we can adjust our starting lineup. So what we did in that league, and again, this is just kind of getting into some of those deeper little strategy things, those little things that probably won't help, but could maybe give you the edge. The Bill Belichickian just style of any advantage I can get at all. Right. Anything that may possibly help me.
It can't hurt.
So what we did is with one of those picks, we drafted a player that we knew was on the IR so that we could just put him in our IR spot without having to drop someone to pick him up and then move him and then pick up someone else. Right. So knowing how to use those IR spots, especially if
knowing your league.
Especially if your league added IR spots for COVID.
Right.
Another league I had, we had the whole draft, and it allows you to add players directly to the injured reserve. That's what the IR stands for. Mm-hmm. So I just went through, and they had just placed the Patriots running back, Deontay Johnson. Is that correct?
Yeah.
They had just placed him on the injured reserve, and the injured reserve this year, this is important to note, is only 3 weeks, where in the past it's been 7 weeks before a player is eligible to return. So that's a change that's important this year. I was able to just add him on, and if Damian Harris. Yeah, Deontay Johnson is the.
He's back.
All right, Damian Harris. Thank you, Pocket. Checker. That's what we need.
We need the fact checker.
Yeah, he's a co-producer. We'll give you a credit. Damian Harris, correct? Not Deontay. Deontay is the receiver for Pittsburgh, correct?
Deontay Johnson. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So again, just throwing him in that IR slot, he could be relevant midway through the year. So. Right. Rashad Penny's another guy that if you're looking for someone, his injury is a little more severe. It might take him longer, but he's a guy that's on IR now. So if you just have a league where you can add a guy from the IR directly to that slot, go ahead and do it now. You may just drop him so you can put him a COVID or something in. But
non-IR related, Heath says, Alan Lazard, get him on your team now. And I'm pretty sure he's screaming at us because that's in all caps.
All right. Do you have Alan Lazard on any team?
I do own shares of Alan Lazard.
Okay.
I got him for $1 in the auction draft for our main redraft league, and I don't mind having him on my team.
He's a guy in Dynasty I would love to have on my roster. The thing with Lazard is, again, I think that Rodgers has been talking up MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah.
So it's...
He'd talk up a potato at this point.
There's a little bit of question as to who will be the two. A lot of people think it'll be Lazard. That makes sense. He had a decent end of the year.
Lazard, I mean, it's a deeper take. Lazard had the raw profile of a number one wide receiver coming out of college. He was one of the highest, thought of undrafted free agents, and he had some other question marks. I can't remember what they were, but he had the physical profile of a number one wide receiver. So he definitely has talent. It's just whether he can take over or not.
All right. Yeah, again, I think it's an interesting name to have out there. He's a guy that I don't have, but I think he's on a lot of waivers, and if you watch that first week and he looks like he's definitely, the number 2 for Green Bay, it could definitely be worth a pick.
Yeah, but if you have a dead spot on your roster now, I agree. I wouldn't mind throwing him on there. There's worse options.
Yeah. So again, we'll jump back to the Houston-Kansas City matchup. The wide receivers, I think, there are probably a lot of teams that'll have them going. I'm going to start Will Fuller. Again, I believe Brandon Cooks will be out, and Kenny Stills is a guy just to watch.
If we're looking at this game last year, though, if it's midseason, we're looking at this as a possible shootout, though, right?
I think it could still have the potential to be a fairly high-scoring game.
Hopefully, because I have the 55-point over.
Houston and Kansas, both their defense are kind of middle of the road. Kansas City should put up wild points. Houston, again, David Johnson, Duke Johnson, I don't have them. I don't like them. If they're on your team, you probably took David Johnson high enough. You got to start him. But if I'm not optimistic that he's going to be great.
Not trying to.
But again, if you could get some games out of him at the beginning of the year before he gets banged up a little bit, this is probably the best he's going to be all year.
That's true.
Kansas City, Pat Mahomes, you're starting him. Great quarterback, dynasty quarterback of mine. Never going to give you up.
Are you just straight starting CEH?
Yeah.
I think so, right?
Yeah. I heard a little bit of like, some of the reports for different teams where they release like their depth charts came out, and some people buy into like if they're placed in a certain order that's like their number one guy is the first one listed, their next best guy is the second, and next on the third. What happens a lot is a lot of teams just out of respect for their rookies or out of respect for their more veteran guys,
right?
Will place like the Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson on the Rams, even though Cam Akers is obviously the guy. They know it, we know it, but it's just a little kind of unwritten rule, respect kind of thing. Right. Yeah, it's like and Malcolm Brown's a good example when we get to the Rams game. Like he could get the early touches, but then you're thinking Cam Akers is going to come in, he's going to get the shot. It was like last year when David Montgomery didn't get the first set of carries, it was Mike Davis, who was just an older guy who'd been in the league longer, and then they quickly went to Montgomery.
Yeah.
So things like that will happen.
Think would happen, yeah.
Don't get too worried about it. If you took some of those rookies and they don't get it, the first couple carries right away, don't panic. Hold on to those guys. They'll take over.
For sure.
All right. So other than that,
says Randall Cobb is technically listed as a slot, and Houston. I don't think Randall's going to have
another one to watch.
You can watch him. He's like Cole Beasley. Maybe it's just I'm thinking straight from the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm not super interested in Randall Cobb.
No, Heath took him in our auction league and then instantly dropped him. So, but again, a good name to just bring up is a guy who could have relevance, especially if you're in deep leagues, if people are getting injured, things like that, where some of those guys you're looking for a flyer. Kansas City, we'll go through it quick. Pat Mahomes, you're playing. Kelsey, you're playing. He had one day where he kind of sat with like a questionable, but he's fine. It was just just a rest day.
No thing.
CEH, you took him high in the first round. You're going to play him. Mecole Hardman, he'd be a guy. He might be on your bench, but I'd like to see what's coming out of him and Sammy Watkins. But again, if you took Watkins last year, first game, that was his blow-up game.
That was true.
If either of those guys blow up, I'm looking to trade them. If either of them have a 30, 40-point game, I'm trying to trade those for a guy that got drafted a couple rounds earlier in my league. All right. Anything else on Houston, Kansas City?
Tyreek Hill.
Oh, Tyreek Hill. I counted him with kind of Kelsey and Mahomes. Is just you got him. You're starting.
Auto start.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
No problem.
Keep going.
Should be again. I predicted there'll be some scoring. The Thursday opening games, though. Oh,
there we go.
All right. The Thursday opening games, however, sometimes like you're expecting big games, and I don't know if it's just that everybody's getting back into the flow.
They're usually depressing.
They do tend to underwhelm a little bit, but. We'll talk about our Sunday matchups. So we have the first one on the board here at noon. The Seattle Seahawks at the Atlanta Falcons, the Battle of the Birds. All right. Actually, you know what? Give me a winner for that first game. Give me your winner pick of Houston, Kansas City.
I think it's Kansas City.
Kansas City. All right. I'm going to go with Kansas City.
Too close.
I think that they're going to go and do their thing. Seattle at Atlanta. You want to start with who your winner is? Who do you pick for to win that game?
Seattle, Atlanta. I'm just going to go Atlanta here. I'm going to go against the grain a little. It's a good year, for Matty Ryan.
All right.
I think everybody's going to be so rusty at the beginning. I'll just go with whoever's going to throw it more, and hopefully that's the Falcons.
All right, that sounds good to me. Again, if you want to play along in the chat, you can let us know who you think's going to win each game. I'm actually going to take Seattle to win that game. I think Seattle, they're just a good team. They're going to come out solid. They're going to know what they're doing.
I think that's the common pick.
I like Atlanta as far as just their fantasy aspects, but I don't know that I love them as a team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But again, Matt Ryan was a guy I didn't get anywhere for quarterback, but I like him if I have him as my quarterback. I got Calvin Ridley in 3 leagues. I think he's, there might be a couple other guys I own in 3, but he was my guy this year. I'm expecting big things from him. I did have Hayden Hurst in 1 league. Tight ends. I have 5 leagues, 5 different tight ends.
That's nice.
So I've got Ertz.
Hold on one second.
Yep. All right, this is me. Yep. Nick's cousin coming back with calzone, I think. So, no, not even yet. Yeah, dogs are just getting excited. We're all excited.
Live at the studio, right?
All right, let's see. Falcons at home picks the home team. All right. B. Bakey. She wants the home team all the way.
You're just going to take the home team just across the board? I don't know about that. I'm not doing that either.
We'll cover somewhere. I'm definitely not taking the home team, but
yeah, definitely not taking the home team in all of them. Going to feel like a 10 a.m. kickoff for Seattle. Again, I feel like week one is going to be so weird feeling for everyone. I heard some people were watching videos of tackling to get in the mind frame of having to tackle. It's going to be a strange week one.
Yeah, you gotta watch some get hyped videos. I know that I can't remember the exact players. One that watched Gladiator before every game. I love Gladiator.
Yeah.
There was one that watched Any Given Sunday, like the speech from that. So I think, yeah, definitely, everybody's just getting hyped in their own way.
You gotta get prepared,
Definitely.
Sometimes it's the, Eminem song. I can't remember what that's called right now. Mom's spaghetti.
A little mom's spaghetti for you. Yeah. So yeah, let's see. We got the early. It's gonna feel like an early kickoff for Seattle. I think they can all get up by 10. Again, nobody's staying out late.
Falcons +1. I like your odds.
Nobody's staying out late with the COVID going on now, so they'll all get a good night rest.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you, Pocket.
Yeah, but anyways, so I think Falcons, again, you're starting Julio, you're starting Calvin. Hayden Hurst, again, if you have him, I like Hayden. I'm going to play him. I'm just going to see what I get. Again, I've got one league where I've got Hayden Hurst and Gesicki, and I think Gesicki was projected more on the Yahoo app. But
do you think the lack of preseason helps the defense more or the offense more?
Defense. If you If you ever played football, again, I played football, I played defense, and defense is a lot more like you just kind of know your spot where you're supposed to be and you're reacting to the offense. The offense is a lot more like they have a very specific kind of design that their play has to follow and guys have to be in the right spot. So they have to know what they're doing more, whereas defense, you could go out there, have had no idea what you're doing, and just they say, hey, this is the area you're covering or this is the gap that you're shooting. Right. It's a lot less complex to make defense work
makes
than
sense.
Offense.
B-Bakey wants more Eminem references, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to break out a few more of those.
Well, once we get to the Detroit game.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But, all right, we'll continue on.
Todd Gurley. How many carries do you expect Todd Gurley to get week one?
16.
16.
I'll go kind of conservative, I think.
I'll go 22.
Yeah. Is there anybody in this game that you're thinking of that, like, you're on the edge of do I start him, do I not start him? DK, you're probably playing DK.
Probably playing DK. I think Todd Gurley gets 50-plus receiving yards and rushing yards.
I want to say under 50-plus receiving yards.
I think they're going to use him a lot.
Rush for 80 yards and a touchdown. I'll give him a pretty decent game.
Okay.
Seattle, I think, though, Chris Carson, I'm a big fan of. I think he's going to have a good game. I'll give him a touchdown.
You get a touchdown.
Lockett, I could go either way. Again, I think that they'll be able to score against Atlanta's defense. Atlanta has a poor defense. So I'm playing just about all my Seattle pieces and also my Atlanta pieces. If I have any other running back on Atlanta besides Todd Gurley, I am not playing them.
You're not even rostering them.
Nah, not even in Dynasty. Ito's been sitting there. Nobody's picked him up.
Yeah. And then on the Seattle side, you starting DK week one?
I think I'll start DK. Yeah, against Atlanta. He's got a good matchup.
DK, Lockett. Are you starting Greg Olsen?
I'm not starting Greg Olsen. I hopefully didn't have to have Greg Olsen be my tight end.
Start Greg Olsen.
But the thing about tight ends is if you got Greg Olsen, you waited, and he's the only guy you've got.
Right.
And so then you just are locked in to play him. Next game up, we got the New York Football Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. The New York game of the week. Let's see. We got the Jets.
The Jets win a game this year.
Yeah, the Jets will win a game.
Is it only because of
Miami?
Yeah. Kenny and Drake not listed on the. Who cares?
Okay, so New York. I got Lev Bell. I'm playing him for volume. I'm not psyched about it, but I'm hoping he just.
So I saw the betting over under today. It was 1,200 yards receiving and rushing for Le'Veon Bell. That was his over-under for the season. What do you think?
Give me the numbers again. Was
over-under for total rushing and receiving yards was 1,200.
I think I'd be pretty happy if that was right. Like if
so, you're thinking like 8 and 4.
I think he only had like 3 touchdowns last year. So if he could go for those kind of yards with like 8 touchdowns, I feel like you could, because he's my running back 2 on a team.
I don't know if the Jets will have 8 rushing touchdowns the entire season.
I think they'll have some rushing touchdowns. Ooh. Again, it just by virtue of even bad teams get some rushing touchdowns.
Rarely.
They did fortify their line a little bit. They spent some picks there, so I'm hoping that their line will be better.
Bills minus 6.5. I probably like the Bills by a little bit more than that.
The Bills should win this game handily. I will pick the Bills to win. On the Bills, I think, what do you think? How do you feel about Diggs?
The Bills don't instill confidence in you.
Are you firing up Diggs?
I have to fire up Diggs. Don't you just straight start Diggs?
I think that Diggs could be good.
For what you paid for him, I think you just have to.
So he went pretty late. I don't think I ended up getting him anywhere. He was a guy that I liked. I wanted to target, but I just always ended up finding someone else I liked in the same range.
Right.
I think it's not outside the realm of possibilities that he's obviously the number one, most talented wide receiver on that team. There are other guys that can play. They'll get some targets. He's not in that same kind of Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, where they're the only guy there. But
I don't know.
But he's the one.
That good.
And again, he's got a good catch radius. So even though Allen's not real accurate when he throws the ball, I think that Diggs is the kind of guy that can really help him. They can be good for each other.
Right.
You can just go get open and then track it down, and I'll just chuck it. And that might work for him. So here's actually one that I'm facing. Everything that I look at, all the rankings tells me that you should play Lev Bell over Zach Moss, the running back for the Bills. And I just strongly feel like Zach Moss is going to come out. They're going to get ahead. Singletary will get some work early. They'll go ahead, and it'll just be the Zach Moss show.
Right, but at the same time, you're starting an unproven rookie that's not even the starter on the team against a perennial Pro Bowler.
Has
the job solely to himself.
There's a 99% chance that I play Lev Bell, but I will not be surprised at all when Zach Moss has more points than Lev Bell this week.
It would be fluky, if anything. Pocket saying Allen Diggs, Bills D might be the highest scoring defense this week. Maybe.
Yeah, it would surprise me.
Defense is so fluky. I hate even having to roster a defense. I wish we didn't have to start a defense.
But the Bills do, as far as defenses go, they have a good schedule starting the season.
Okay.
No, again, it's not crazy. I think that it's just New York. I'm curious to see what it looks like. Mims, their rookie wide receiver that I believe they took in the second, did come back to practice. I don't know if he plays or not. It sounds like it was a limited practice, but it's just something that's interesting. I think this could be just a slow grinding kind of game. But I'll take the Bills to win. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they do. Again, Darnold's going to be out there. What's he in, his third or fourth year?
I think this is Darnold's third season now.
Okay, so.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to be terrible. He seemed to be a capable quarterback, but I don't know if he is insane.
Bills are a solid
He struggled
defense
to get the ball to Robbie Anderson, but.
All right, now we're taking a stroll down 8 Mile for our next game. We're going to the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions. All right.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Are they going to beat the Bears, or are they going to disappoint? And we all have to say
the Bears are who we thought they were.
Yeah,
I think in the opposite of yeah.
I could see both sides of an argument for them being good and bad this year. I understand, but we had a really tough schedule last year, and the quarterback play sucked, and the defense wasn't as good with Hicks being hurt, and we were still 8-8. But again, we didn't really improve at all besides getting Robert Quinn. So
both teams have their young running back injured. So David Montgomery is hurt. He's pulled his groin. And then we got Swift, who is on the Lions, who's dealing with, it sounds like a leg injury.
Right.
So that evens it out a little bit. This could be another candidate for a high-scoring defense. I think the Bears could put up good points with their defense. If the Bears win, I believe they're going to have to win with their defense unless young Mitch Trubisky comes out and just lights up the world and surprises us all.
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby!
Why do you like that gift so
I
much?
love it. So
you enjoy it.
For those
thoroughly.
who don't know, that is from Archer. That's Pam from Archer, who I'm a huge Archer fan. But yeah, just everything about that, from the music to to just the line. Come on, Mitch. If he's good and I can use that drop all day, every day, we're going to just sneak it in at least 4 times a show.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it. That's fine.
But yeah, again, Bears. So let's say Montgomery doesn't play. Then you like Allen Robinson and Tariq Cohen, don't you? Like, it just you give them a boost.
I told you, if I have Tariq Cohen, I'm flexing him all season. Well, I shouldn't say all season.
Now's the time.
If he's not good at the beginning, then maybe not. But 108 targets last year, I'm still buying into that. I think the offense hasn't changed. They seem to be stuck on running the same plays over and over again. So, Tariq Cohen, start him.
I think that the play calling will be better this year. I think that's something that they've had all year to just look at, like to feel it, to plan around it. I think Nagy, if nothing else, I think like he'll have a good scheme. It'll just be like, can they execute it? Can you execute this plan without a running back who can run between the tackles? Can you do it without a quarterback who can make those quick decisions and has good vision?
So, Paco, can Stafford feed all of those targets? I don't know. Do you think Galladay, Hawkinson, Marvin Jones, and a running back or two can all be startable?
So I wasn't taking Galladay high largely because of this reason. I think that there are guys. I think if Marvin Jones is there, it hurts Galladay. I think, Hawkinson could develop and come on a little bit. Adrian Peterson, how many touches does he get in this game? How many runs? How many rushes?
None.
6? I'll give him 6.
I don't think Adrian Peterson's going to be used more than a handful of times a game. I don't think they're going to use him.
I have a league where Kerryon Johnson's on the bench. Like,
I think they just signed him to mentor their guys that they have.
I don't think that that's the kind of guy Adrian Peterson is, but
I don't know.
I think
Adrian Peterson needs to make a paycheck.
I think he believes he's going to run. I think he believes he's going to get touches.
I don't think he's going to.
Again, I'll give him. I'm going to say he gets in the game and he gets the ball a little bit, but not enough for him to be relevant. Maybe a little bit just to hurt Kerryon. I think if you are desperate for a running back, but again, now everybody's at the point in the year where like you picked your guys, you've got your guys. You probably didn't pick Kerryon Johnson to be your starting running back. But I think you could take a chance on him and he could work out for you. It would not shock me if he outperformed a number of running backs that people drafted and are playing like as
I would be very surprised.
For Kerryon Johnson?
I don't know how that backfield's going to play out. It's going to be...
Well, let's say I'm saying Swift's not there. Adrian Peterson just got there. He's an old guy. And it's Kerryon Johnson,
I think
who
you can,
now is healthy.
You can probably start Kerryon Johnson week 1. You can probably start with Kerryon Johnson for the first
now is the
3
time.
weeks.
Also, like other players, if Kerryon Johnson goes off and you're in a league with people that aren't paying attention, trade Kerryon Johnson away if he looks like he has any value. Like, now's the time to get rid of him.
Yeah. So what are you expecting? You still think Kerryon Johnson gets 15 to 18 touches? Rushes?
I don't know if they'll rush that many times against the Bears. The Bears have a good defense, too, which is worth noting if you're thinking about playing Kerryon. Yeah.
I don't think you start Hawkinson this week. I don't think you start... I guess you have to start Kerryon.
No, if I can avoid starting a lot of these Lions players, I try not to. If you took Galladay, you probably got to start him. But the other guys are probably in slots where you might be making a decision.
I'm starting Galladay.
If you could start, like, in a PPR, Marvin Jones or Crowder. Like, I feel like I pick Crowder just for the amount of receptions he's going to get.
I don't think you need to you don't have to start Stafford. I think you could essentially just start Galladay, and if you have to, Kerryon.
Again, people will be making these other decisions for, like, their flex or something like that.
Yeah.
So
side, is Anthony Miller going to be worth playing at all, or is he's got to prove it still, right?
I would want to see it. He's just, you always hear about his talent. He's been banged up. He had shoulder injuries in the past, but he's just never really come to fruition. I don't know that the offense is going to be that good. However, Detroit's defense isn't great. So if you're taking a chance, if you got him, he's a guy I'd rather wait and see.
But Mitchell sucks.
But I think he's worth rostering.
All right, what's our next matchup?
Next game, we got in the NFC North again, we got Green Bay versus the Minnesota Vikings. All right. So, let's see here.
Some more good to decent defenses. From the Vikings side of things, who's going to win the game? First of all, let's start with that.
I'll go Vikings.
You think the Vikings?
Yep. I think that Aaron is on a team where they don't want to help him. They don't like him. They don't want to give him receivers.
You done messed up, Aaron!
Do you think the Packers are going to be not good this whole season?
I thought it last year. That's the only thing that gives me pause. Is I thought they would finish last in the division last year, and they won games. They won a lot of games, but I don't know.
I don't know if you're going to finish last though when you have
the Lions and
also
the
Aaron Rodgers.
Well, again, they just didn't help him.
Cram it up your cram hole.
They did not help him.
LaFleur,
I don't know why.
Just hates Aaron Rodgers. Like, I get it.
After 1 year, he already hates him.
Oh yeah, again, just that kind of guy.
You're starting Aaron Rodgers though. Maybe
no.
not.
A lot of leagues, Aaron Rodgers fell or did not go drafted. I think that I am not trying to play Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying to avoid the Packers largely.
It's strange if you view Rodgers in that light, though.
So I have no Packers on my teams. I have, like, the only Bears I got was when David Montgomery really started to fall. I took him late, and I have Khalil Mack on my one IDP league just because.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers' start percentage will be this week?
25%. Like,
across all leagues?
I don't know. There's enough people, though, that, like, they'll just take him on the name and what he's done in the past.
Right.
But I would say he finishes outside the top 15 quarterbacks easy.
I bet he started in 45%.
Yeah, again, I could see it just because people, won't be paying attention.
You
to
see
exactly
Aaron Rodgers on
on
your bench, and then you see, Ben Roethlisberger.
So the players that Pocket Pool's interested on the chat are Adams, you're playing.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, again, if you took him, you're playing him. Cook, yeah, you're definitely playing him. And then the last one's Adam Thielen, who, again, all of those are just like the auto start guys. Those are the most usable pieces in that game.
Irv Smith?
Irv Smith is a guy I'm watching. He's a lot of leagues. He was undrafted. He's on the waivers. If they're lining him out in the slot or, just getting him where he's going on long routes, even if he doesn't catch a lot of them, but if they're just using him like that, I'm paying attention to that.
Starting Lazard?
I am not, but
MVS?
No. Again, they're guys I'll watch because I want to know who the number 2 wide receiver on that team is.
You're noticing a trend that we don't like very many players.
No, I like all kinds of players.
I don't
know. Did you hear me talk about Calvin Ridley? Well, again, and we're glossing over like the ones that are obviously guys that are going to be in your lineup, guys that you drafted in the first 4 rounds that you're going to play.
Yeah.
You don't need us to tell you to play them because you already know. So
Jefferson, BB, anybody?
Justin Jefferson, you have in Dynasty. Talk about kind of his preseason and the hype on him.
There hasn't been any. That's
the
problem. There's been more.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I don't think you can start anybody else. I think this is it. We have to go chalk, unfortunately, for this game.
So BC Jones is the guy that kind of has gotten a little bit more of the hype than Justin Jefferson, the rookie, and he's going to be, by all reports, the number 2 wide receiver for the Vikings. I'll glance at it. I'll watch that game just because it's in the division that I like to watch.
I have a feeling a lot of fab is going to be spent after week 1 here.
Well, there are different philosophies on fab, and one of them is to spend it week 1 because you figure out those guys that are kind of on the fringe, and you're like, okay, this is going to be the guy, and I wasn't sure about. This guy looks really good.
Draft.
Kind of like a second draft. But again, you don't necessarily want to blow it all right away, is what I would say. So, yeah, if you got some of those players that you picked up,
what you're saying is get the good guys for cheap and then save some money, essentially.
Yeah, but so there's one of the podcasts I like is the Fantasy Pros, Mike Tagliere. He always says, like, you want to draft guys that you can drop right away if you don't know if they're good or not.
Yeah.
And I would almost amend it and kind of, I feel like you just don't want to have guys you can't drop if you don't know right away. Like Jalen Reagor is a guy we took on one of our deeper benches that we can wait on. But if you're in a league and you've only got like 5 bench spots and you took Reagor and he comes, like if he misses this game, the reports were that he was at practice doing stuff and looking good today.
Yeah, they said he was doing everything.
Some of those rookies that you want to know right away, but they have like a little injury and maybe they missed that first game. Those are guys that are tough to cut because you still realize the potential in that if as soon as they get out there, maybe they blow up, but you have to wait and it clogs your roster and maybe you miss out on picking up one of the guys that's better. Right. So I would kind of amend it to say you don't want to pick up guys that you have to hold without seeing what you've got quickly.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because while that's happening, the other people are making moves, picking up those guys that have flashed and shown good talent. So that's a little bit of strategy.
What's our next matchup? So you're taking the Vikings by how many?
I'm going to say it's a close game. I'll say the Vikings win by 1 touchdown, 7 points.
All right. I like it.
Yep. And again, have those guys that you can.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And we flagged again.
I actually made that drop. We had an episode, but I don't think it got thrown up on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, we were talking about Leonard Fournette. So that was when the Jaguars with the probably the most shocking move since DeAndre Hopkins.
He's explaining this just so he can play this drop again.
Oh, this drop?
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Yeah, that one.
All right. Now that I got that out of my system, we'll move on to the next game.
All right. What's the next one?
All right. So that was Green Bay, Minnesota. Next one we got is Miami Dolphins versus New England. So the Patriots. You gotta. All right, we'll just start. We're taking the Patriots, right? You just have to take the Patriots, even though Miami has beat them in the past. Are you all right? You got the floor.
The Patriots have a new quarterback,
an MVP.
Is it that Bill Belichick and the Patriots can't beat Miami, or can Tom Brady not beat Miami?
That's
you know what I mean?
The way you phrased it.
We have to know. This will be the deciding game.
So if you've
I don't think Tom Brady can win games in Florida. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to quickly figure this out.
There's a quote, I believe it's from Mad Men, and I'm going to just paraphrase it. I didn't watch Mad Men, and I don't have the drop, but it's basically this one guy talking to the main character, and he says, like, I hate you with every fiber of my being. And the guy replies, I don't think about you at all. That is the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots to a T. Is the Dolphins just all year like we're gonna gear up, we're gonna beat the Patriots, we're so like this all their focus into it, and that's why they win is because the Patriots are like, oh man, like we didn't even think that team was gonna show up at
we
all.
thought this was a bye week.
Yeah,
and they lose.
So Miami is they're gonna roll with the bearded wonder. Let's see, Fitzmagic. Yep. Fitzpatrick is going to be their quarterback, so he likes to throw the ball. They got Preston Williams back coming off an injury.
I have Devontae Parker shares, so
Devontae has a bit of an injury. I'm not 100% sure he's going to go.
I hope he goes.
Might be worth checking in on before the game.
I really need him to go. I'll call him,
but
and, try and get that set
Preston Williams, he's another guy who's not rostered in a lot of leagues. He'd be a great one to keep an eye on. He showed some flashes last year before he got hurt, and he's a guy that I think a lot of people aren't aware of. Gesicki, they had him. I believe the report was that he was
New England's favored by 6.5.
Yeah, I think that history, you got to go with the Patriots. I think Cam could be good. Their wide receiver core there, like
their
Edelman is usable.
Is taking the year off, though. New quarterback.
So their defense.
No wide receivers.
Their defense still has a number of good pieces, but they actually lost a couple linebackers to free agency.
Right.
Van Noy, I think, is gone. And I want to say it's Collins Sr. Again, there's another one of their linebackers that end up going to the Raiders, I believe. So there is some turnover on their defense, but again, they're the Patriots. They're good at football. They'll be prepared. They've whatever regulations they had of saying you couldn't practice.
Yes, we're so excited for football. We can't wait. Live, real tackle, real NFL football.
Oh,
I'm so pumped.
It's the best thing.
It's just so pumped.
Thanks
for talking about it.
Yeah, maybe I'll be more excited next year, but this is definitely the most excited that I've ever been for football.
Football Eve is the most exciting eve. I think the draft is the most fun part of the year, but this is nice.
Oh, yeah. No, the draft is great, but then when you have all these players and you've done all your research and they all go out there and you were completely wrong about everything.
Right. Exactly. Ash, again, it's rebuild altogether for the Pats, but I think they still get the win. I think everybody is probably in agreement with you. I'm interested to see how Cam will mesh with the whole Belichickian way of life down there.
Yeah, it'll be definitely worth keeping an eye on. And they could win just a not exciting game. That would not surprise me at all.
Dante Hightower opted out as well.
It's like a 14-12 kind of game, and it's just, the Patriots just dinked and dunked and Cam ran one in at the end. And
I think they can be sneaky good this year, but I still don't think they get over 8-8.
Man, 8-8, they just find a way.
How good is Cam?
They're just going to win this one, and then
we're on to Cincinnati.
They're just on to the next one. They're just focused, and it's like, the Patriots, they won 12 games, and they're in the playoffs. Amazing.
Jordan Howard could be a sneaky flex play. I hope Jordan Howard doesn't do well this whole season. just because of my bet. Just because of the wager. But
I think Jordan Howard will get the goal line work. I think Breida will get the majority of the pass catching, running back targets.
Right.
I did pick up Breida in a PPR. I've heard analysts go both ways. Some are like, oh, yeah, he's going to be the guy. He's going to get the volume. Was Kalen Ballage the worst, or was it the offensive line? And I think it was Kalen Ballage. So I think these guys will be better.
Why not both?
It could be a bit of both.
I think it's both. Because remember when they traded or cut their entire team at the beginning of last year?
Yeah, Hightower opted out. So there's, I still think, I just think this is not going to be exciting. I want to see this game.
Especially with no preseason. Again, I know I keep, broken recording it, but first game of the year, they haven't really played any NFL football. It's going to be a mess. It is just going to be a mess of football week 1.
Patriots will just go out and they'll just casually line up and they'll just
Kalen
win
Ballage,
this game.
end of story.
Man.
Not a Kalen Ballage fan.
No,
Not a fan of the Ballage.
Kalen Ballage, in my opinion, no offense personally to him, but was the worst running back I think I've seen be a starting running back for the team. He would get knocked over by a stiff breeze. He was the easiest to tackle.
Worse than how you view Ito Smith?
Oh, yeah. Ito at least played some games and did some things, got a neck injury, but
and got a neck injury.
Oh, Kalen was the worst.
Perfect.
And I believe so we did talk slightly about that. Whoop, I lost my wrestler from the top ropes, the Macho Man. Oh, yeah.
That's why we can have nice things.
Yeah. But so Kalen Ballage, the Jets trade for him. He comes in, fails the physical, and then I think it's put back on Miami, and I believe has been dropped again by
I'm pretty sure. I think he's been cut.
Which, again, I don't know if – then I haven't heard, though, that the Jets,
nope, they're like,
pick him up.
We're out.
Yeah.
Adam Gates was just trying to get his
$2 because Kalen owed him money. That's the story. I believe it.
All right, what's our next matchup?
All right, we'll jump on to the next one.
Let's
next
do
one,
it.
we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington football team, the team formerly known as the Washington Redskins.
Do we have to watch this game on Sunday?
I can't wait.
No, come on. This game's going to be terrible.
I just want my boy Zach Ertz and my dynasty team just go out there, get his 3 touchdowns. He'll just go out. He'll be done with the game. He'll, go find his, World Cup soccer winning wife. They'll go for a jog. They'll drink some protein shakes, and he'll get ready for next week. That's what I want.
This one's in Washington. I feel like since the stadium's going to be empty, there's going to be one fan in the stand just goes, boo. Just every few minutes, every play, just a guy's out there.
It'll be one belligerent Eagles fan just screaming obscenities and throwing batteries.
One guy on each side, just boo, and then the other guy's
go
just
Birds!
Boo!
And then Washington,
I need to make a drop of that.
I don't know. Man. The Washington football team,
it's going to be, again, another mess of a game with nobody playing football.
So let's talk about the running backs. So Miles Sanders has had kind of a tender hammy all through the preseason here,
right?
Since September, I believe, which is enough time that it could largely be healed up. He was doing some shadow drills. It sounds like he got in a limited practice today. I did draft him in one of my leagues. It was one of my kind of more for fun leagues. No money, just pride, which I still want to win. But it's like, man, I like the talent of Miles Sanders. I think he's going to be the guy. Here's a name I'll bring up that people might not have. It might be on your waivers. Boston Scott. So Boston Scott.
You and Boston Scott.
Now, again, I'll make the case again. He's the backup running back, and the next best guy is Corey Clement, who just had the chance last year, underachieved, wasn't good. Boston Scott had a 30-point game in a half PPR league, and he's like the pass-catching guy. He can put up numbers. If you can do that, you have talent. Even if it was a fluke.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
Can you think of another guy who was just awful that put up a 30-point fantasy game?
I'd probably have to go back in history a little bit.
No, it's you have to have some talent.
We use defensive players too?
You cannot. But he's a guy that I think is definitely worth picking up. I handcuffed, because I had Zeke in that league, so I handcuffed with Pollard for Zeke, and I was like, gosh, I handcuffed with Scott too, and I left him hoping he'd be on the waivers, and somebody picked him up with their last, I think it was the second to last pick of the draft.
I only have 2 words against Boston Scott, and that's Doug Peterson. He's not going to use
That's an argument for Boston Scott, is instead of just letting Miles Sanders do everything, he'll also use Boston Scott.
He's going to use all of them enough so they're not worth anything.
There's only 3 of them.
I know. So Miles Sanders will be usable. I don't think Miles Sanders is great this season.
I think if he's healthy, he's great.
I don't think he's great. I think he is mid-tier wide receiver too.
We got a question about an asset you traded away in Dynasty. Why don't you field that one?
Yeah. Ash Kelter. I like that. Ash Kelster. I don't even know how to pronounce it. TB12 though. Bryce Love or Gibson. Do I have to start who to run? Sanders should be a fine line. I don't know. I think it's going to be a full RBBC, and I don't think you can start anybody from the Redskins or the Washington Football Club.
I think
week one.
I think the next comment is the answer to the question. Name a bad player that had like a great game. We got Matt Flynn with a 6 touchdown game.
That is so true.
That is a deep take.
You could actually even say Mitchell Trubisky with a 6. Did he have 6 or 7? Man. What's the record? He had one short of the record because everybody stopped short.
Mama's handing out biscuits, baby.
Man, quarterbacks is different.
Why every time do you have to play that?
Because it's the best thing that's ever happened.
It's not.
So,
Matt Flynn 6 touchdowns. That was pretty fun.
All right. Again, Boston Scott's just a guy. Keep an eye on him. See how he does. He could be one of those sleepers.
No.
No, Peck, no.
We just lost a friend. Here. Going to straight Patriots 4 touchdowns. So I remember this. There was a mad dash to pick up Jonas Gray and bench for the rest of the season. Yeah, there's been some strange things with the Patriots with running backs. That's another situation there, just like the Eagles. I don't want them.
Bill just sees, he's just looking at guys like fruit in the produce aisle, and he's just like, oh, this one's ready. And it's like, and then he gets everything out of them, and then, trades it for a 3rd-round pick or something.
Patriots are tough because if you are a rookie, you're not going to get to play. And if you fumble the ball one time, you're not going to get to play. So any of those games, you fumble the ball, you
Rex
don't play the rest of the game.
going in. Rex!
It is. You don't play the rest of the game.
Come here, Rex.
That's brutal. It's brutal.
I got you. All right. So that was Philly, Washington. Oh, let's talk about Antonio Gibson. So Antonio Gibson was a rookie, came out, kind of went in the...
Are you starting him week 1, though?
I think...
People know about Antonio Gibson, but are you starting him?
Man, if you drafted him, you could probably have gotten him late enough you don't have to.
I don't think you can't start
Philly.
Philly's
Philly's defense is pretty decent. I think you can stash him. If he blows up, do you hold him or you trade him? Like, you probably hold him. You probably believe in it.
No, I think if either of them do well, you hold them because they have an opportunity to take over the backfield if they're good enough.
Ron Rivera came in to coach this team. He was just the coach of Christian McCaffrey. Perhaps you've heard of him. So, if he wants to try and make the next Christian,
we'll see.
There's a chance.
There is a chance. If somebody definitely looks like they're taking over the role, then I think that'll be a valuable position because I don't think they can throw the ball that well.
We'll have to see what happens.
All right, who do you got in this game?
I didn't get him anywhere. I did try to trade. I actually sent my brother a trade because my brother's a big Bears fan. David Montgomery, I think, fell to the 8th round, middle of the 8th, and I picked him up. And my brother was like, "Oh man, I was going to grab him," and he had taken Antonio Gibson in the 7th. So that's a guy that I tried to make that trade where
right.
So things like that. If you can get one of those guys a little bit later and then maybe trade up to a guy that got picked,
you're not starting
a round
Haskins,
or two ahead of him.
Are you starting Scary Terry?
Terry, I think, there are leagues. He got drafted high enough where you'll play him. Antonio Gandy-Golden is a rookie that, just keep an eye on him. He might, just because they have a lack of receiving options. They have a tight end who,
if you have to look it up,
is a no-name tight end. No, you're not starting. But
you have to look it up.
There's some people to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on the tight end in Washington. Keep an eye on.
Are you starting Ertz and Goddard if you have them?
I
mean, not obviously not the same.
No, I'm just starting Ertz. Goddard, again, he had like a hairline fracture in his thumb, and again, I think Ertz just hurts him too much.
Are you starting any other receiving option?
Deshaun Jackson is a guy who
I think I'm firing up Deshaun this week.
If you got him and you need to start, if you took maybe some guys that are kind of banged up or, that you're waiting on to develop some rookies, if you got I have a couple benches that are kind of rookie heavy, maybe you do throw in Deshaun. He could have a better week 1 than Ruggs or Judy or
a little bit deeper than we usually go, but we talked about this last time, a little bit of fantasy theory. I think we're going towards more of a boom bust style team makeup where you just get a bunch of guys that have, a couple 30-point weeks, a couple bust weeks, and you just live with the results kind of a la Jeremy Sprinkle.
Sprinkle's tight end, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, again, he was not listed as the starting tight end, and there's been some. You keep talking about the theory, and I'll look up the tight end.
So I think Tyreek Hill's a good example of a guy that'll have, 8 really boom weeks, like 30-plus points, and he'll have 8 subpar to not good games as well. But you make up your whole team of it. Deshaun Jackson fits that mold. I think if you're flexing players, especially if your starters aren't super great, I think Deshaun gives you a good opportunity to have a big boom week 1.
So, again, I think it's interesting. But, again, Logan Thomas is the name of the tight end. So there's a little just blurb here that he was listed as the starter on the Washington's initial 2020 depth chart, and it says this was fully expected after multiple reports out of training camp relayed that Thomas received most of the first-team snaps.
I get to see Haskins throw the ball more before I'm starting anybody else besides. I don't even know if I want to start Scary Terry every week.
Again, if he's your wide receiver 2, you feel good about Terry. I don't know that you want him to be your 1. But yeah, that boom bust, if you're looking for a boom quarterback, you just pick up Mitch Trubisky.
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby.
See, now you're overdoing it.
Hey, in the chat.
Nobody wants that much Trubisky. We're going to be trumping the Bears too much.
Also in the chat, if you're listening and our drops are ever like way louder than our voice, let me know if those drops are just blasting you in the ears.
Yeah,
and we can turn them down.
And we'll turn them up. We'll definitely turn them up.
Just this one.
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby.
Look, we just lost half of our 2 viewers.
All right.
So Eagles are favored by 6 here.
Yeah, I picked the Eagles to win.
By how much?
3.
Over under is 42 points, so not
under.
Not a whole lot of points going to be scored here. All right, who's next?
The Las Vegas Raiders at the Carolina Panthers. Man, like this game.
Oh, we got one more try here. More incentive to play guys like D. Jackson, Watkins, Sanders early while they're hot. Then, I think you're gonna have to make up your team half with boom bust guys in general, like Deshaun Jackson and Tyreek Hill, and just the faster guys, Scary Terry, any of the AJ Brown, the athletes more than the actual prototypical wide receiver 1. Julio Jones is a prototypical wide receiver 1. Hopkins, they're biscuits. God, see, now it's gonna be a thing. I don't want it to become a thing.
Biscuits, baby.
It can't be a thing.
No, I won't do it. I'm holding back.
I think you're gonna have to make up your team more with those boom bust guys than your prototypical ones. The Cortland Suttons aren't going to be as popular.
I will make the case against it. I disagree. I don't like to have those guys because I have trouble knowing. Like, it's hard to pick the bust.
But that's what I'm saying. You don't. You put them all in.
Just put them all in and hope one bust.
You hope half of them bust every week.
Nah, I much more rather have those consistent floor guys. I like to have one like top end guy whose floor is very high, and then if I can get like a Robert Woods or like a Jarvis Landry, a guy who's not going to probably blow up and get a ton of touchdowns, but it can just have some volume,
right?
Get his catches, get that 10 to 20 points. Like I kind of build my roster.
I'd like a Bentley too, but I mean we gotta.
No, you can easily build a team where you got Julio Jones and then you got Jarvis Landry.
You have to be flexible with how you make up your teams. And I myself have done a really poor job by just taking chalk ones on the running back side and wide receiver side, and I'm paying the price now because I'm playing against Tyreek Hill who puts up 40 points, and then I play against he's got Deshaun Jackson on there that puts up another 35. Well, I have to make up 80 points somehow.
So I have a bit of a confession. This year in our leagues, we've been advocates of the late quarterback strategy, and did not follow our own advice. I took Lamar in 2 leagues, and I took Kyler Murray in 2. So I've got my quarterbacks in my 5 leagues are Pat Mahomes in my dynasty, who I've had. I picked up Lamar in 2, and then I got Kyler Murray in 2 of them. And I feel pretty good about it just because I think that their upside, again, Lamar I think gives you such an advantage. The reason I took him, I have a family league I play with my brother, and then I have another one with just some friends that, again, they're not super into fantasy. Yeah. They're just kind of more casual players that I invited him because we needed a guy to fill in. And he had the first pick. He took Christian, and then he got like Lamar. And it's just, if you're looking at a team that has Christian McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson, even if they're like, it's like, oh man, those guys together put up such huge points so often that if they can do even a fraction of it again this year, you're really going to have a tough time beating it.
Tough.
So in the one, I took Lamar largely to prevent my brother from doing the same thing. He got the first pick in both drafts. So
He's lucky.
I was like, I can't let him get Lamar. So I reached and actually took Lamar with my second to prevent him from getting it. But again, you look at your team, and if Lamar can be just close to what he was, he ran for over 1,000 yards. If he can rush for 800 yards and, throw a couple touchdowns and get in the end zone a couple more times,
right,
he should give you a huge positional advantage. And then tight end.
Are we even on the
one.
Ravens game yet?
No, but we'll go back. Reel it in.
Pocket says Tyreek Hill put up 40 points in advantage. That's what I think if you have a somewhat full roster of those guys, all you need is 2 of them to boom each week, and you're okay.
So Tyreek, even his low games though aren't total vanishes.
No, he puts
usually.
some pretty. He needs to make all of his points on 6 or less targets a game.
He'll have over 6 targets a game this year. I'll predict that. I'll say he gets at least 8 targets a game.
At least 8 targets a game.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him that many targets. It'll be him and Kelsey.
So you're talking he's going to get...
Mecole will be more like that boom bust.
So he's going to get
Mecole gets like 3
125
targets.
to 140 targets?
I'm going to give him a lot of targets this year. I think they're going to throw it to him.
How many targets did he have last year?
He missed games last year, so the numbers will be skewed. But they throw it to Tariq.
Yeah, and then Ash Kelster, 12. It's hard with wide receiver ones because certain weeks they get doubled and have shut down cornerbacks deal. That's what was nice about Hopkins is even when he was shut down and doubled, he just got the ball thrown to him anyway. And, if you throw the ball to him 15 times, he's still going to catch 12 of them.
They won't be able to double Tyreek because you still got Watkins and Mecole who
But the reason they don't double Tyreek is because they only throw the ball to Tyreek 4 times a game.
I'd be interesting to look up his stats. But I think he's going to get 6 to 8 passes a game easy. He's the obvious wide receiver 1 on that team. They like to air it out. They also, again, the score is 60 points.
Let's see if I can find the targets per game.
All right, you look that up. I'll keep talking.
All right, you give us our next matchup.
So our next matchup that we've got. Oh, actually, let me touch on Carolina. So
actually,
Christian
Pocket
McCaffrey.
Says, before you start that, that's why I don't waste picks on ones. I would rather have 3 awesome picks, awesome backs, and 2. Yeah, I think there's definite value now, especially with the running back position kind of fading to get those good guys early. All right, go ahead.
All right, so we'll go on with Vegas a little bit more. Josh Jacobs, I got him in the league. I like him. I think he's going to get a lot of volume. Hopefully he gets a little bit more passing volume. Should be solid. They traded away LBJ. Remind me the full name. It's Lynn Bowden Jr., the rookie that they took. They traded him to the Dolphins, and they have him listed as a wide receiver. That's a guy we didn't touch on when we were talking about the Dolphins. That's an interesting player, just who's got a lot of physical talent, but again, doesn't seem to know what spot he wants to play. Keep an eye on him. Raiders, other than that, if you took Waller, I don't have high hopes for Waller, but you had to take him where he's your tight end that you're going forward with.
Ruggs says Tyreek had 7.4 targets per game.
How do you feel about Ruggs?
And that's including the ones that he missed.
Say what was it?
7.4, and that's taking out the games that he missed.
All right, so roughly about what I thought. Talk about Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs is not the player that you think he is. He's a speedster. He's super fast, but he's not a deep threat. He's starting in the slot. I think Ruggs might be sneaky good this season. The more I hear about him and the more I like him playing from that position, he's going to play it seems like he's going to play the Antonio Brown role, or, maybe they even make some plays or cross over some plays like that. But I think Ruggs might be actually pretty decent. I might flex him here week 1 just for fun.
I think I got him in at least one league, and I am the same kind of boat. I think that initially people thought of him a little more like a Tyreek Hill, where he's just going to be a burner with less volume again. Right. So instead of getting the 7, be more kind of like what you thought Tyreek was, where he gets 4 targets and maybe he gets a big play, maybe he doesn't. I think they're going to try and use him, get him more involved in that. I think that it's not going to just be, fly routes where he goes and they try and hit him long. I think they're going to get him involved, try to get him the ball, try and get him running in space. Reports have been good about him. He and Bryan Edwards were both listed as starting wide receivers when they released their rosters.
Are you running out and grabbing Bryan Edwards as fast as you can?
I hate to admit it because he's on next dynasty team. I like Bryan Edwards. Yeah, I got him
in the 3rd round of the rookie draft, and he's already a starting asset. I'm pretty.
I so hoped he was going to get back to me, and I saw him, and I was trying to talk into some other guys. But Bryan Edwards, he had good good kind of pre-draft hype, and then once they drafted him to the Raiders, he could get a lot of volume. He could finish as the number one targeted wide receiver on that team.
You're not starting Bryan Edwards week 1.
Bryan Edwards would be a great guy to see what you got, and if you
I
can
think
pick
Henry
him up,
Ruggs might be a sneaky DFS pick
Sneaky
too,
start.
because I don't think he's
Here's the
super
thing:
pricey.
Carolina Panthers, not a great defense. A lot of turnover. Lost Luke Kuechly. I think they got a rookie safety that they're going with, who's talented, but again, a rookie.
And Carr's not a bad quarterback.
I don't like him. I don't want it.
I know you don't like him, but
I don't like it.
History thinks differently. He was a MVP front runner until he got hurt two seasons ago. You remember last year, but you forget what happened 2 years ago. When players were good.
No, you just see it there. You think you can pick it up, but
Mozambique, yeah.
Do you know who Andrew Luck is? Have you heard of this person?
I do know Andrew Luck.
Okay.
I'd rather have Andrew Luck than Derek Carr this year, probably.
Come on.
No, I mean, I don't know. He's got some weapons. They're trying to do stuff. Gruden, maybe Gruden. I don't know if you buy into Gruden, but it's any coach who knows he's going to be there, who has that security. They've got him paid. They got to keep him. I think that helps the coach. I think that helps the team.
For this, I think I'm starting Waller because I think you have to. I'm starting Ruggs in the flex for fun and just hope that he's actually going to be good. You're starting CMC. You're starting DJ Moore. Are you starting Teddy?
I'm not starting Teddy. And you don't have to because you didn't grab him. But keep an eye on him. He might be a guy that's useful if you're in a super flex and you need to take a second quarterback late. Robbie Anderson. Watch Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson's on a lot of waiver wires. He could come out. He could have a good game. Again, the Raiders' defense isn't great. Carolina's defense isn't great. This could be one of those where two bad teams have a blow-up kind of game where they actually get points.
Robbie Anderson is the perfect person where if you have somebody that you can dispose of on your bench, pick him up. If he blows up week 1, just trade him as fast as you can.
Well, I don't know. Again, because he's going to be
I'm
the wide
trading him as
receiver.
fast as
He's
I
going to
can.
be the wide receiver 2 on that team. The reports about him have been good. The reports on Curtis Samuel have been bad.
Right. Is Teddy Bridgewater going to how many yards is he going to throw for in the season?
So the narrative has been that Teddy can't air it out, but there have been reports from camp. The coaches have been saying that he can throw the long ball. They just didn't do it a lot in for the Saints. And the Saints are a team that even if you look at Drew Brees, who is definitely a great quarterback, doesn't air it out that much. His passes are more mid-range to Michael Thomas. So
I'm just thinking total yardage. If Teddy Bridgewater throws for 3,500 yards and he's throwing 800 of it to CMC, if we think that position is the same, and then he's got DJ Moore, I just don't see that many yards going to Robbie Anderson. He's going to have a pretty good, touchdown per catch percentage or something.
I'd be interesting to see how it looks. I'm going to be very interested in that game.
What about Hollywood Brown's outing as a rookie? Might be an okay reason to start Edwards.
Hollywood Brown had some
team,
blow-up games, but he was coming off a foot injury kind of thing. He was on the Ravens. It still is. Some people liked Hollywood Brown or Marquise Brown for the Ravens. I didn't get him anywhere. He was going kind of high.
Actually, how many did he do it 3?
He had a couple
weeks?
big
I know
games.
2 for sure that he started with.
A good example of
30
that boom bust you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Again, if you make your team up of Hollywood Browns and Tyler Lockett's and the Ted Ginn Jr. style players, Robbie Anderson's, if you get the higher end ones of those style players, I think you can put a pretty good squad together that'll it'll have down weeks, but you can crush some others.
All right, we'll jump into the next game. That was kind of
what's
a
the
good
next
rundown of that. The Indianapolis Colts against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Colts, Jags. How is it only -8 in Indianapolis' favor? I feel like it should be a lot more because the Jaguars are going to do everything possible to lose.
Just tanking.
Everything possible to lose. So the Colts, I'm starting. Are you starting any second-level players? You're starting, obviously, T.Y. Hilton. I think you're probably still at least flexing him in this spot.
Yeah, I think you can probably go with T.Y. It sounds like
Jaguars' defense is not going to be as good as the last.
No, they're going to be bad. Really they got rid of some pieces. I'm watching the Colts intently for guys that I might want to have. So, Paris Campbell, it's his second year. He had a lot of injuries last year. I believe he was drafted in the second round of the NFL draft. He's got a lot of good qualities to him.
Are you starting him this week, though?
No, I'm watching to see how he does.
We're watching
other
a lot of
one.
people.
Oh, yeah.
How many people are you going to watch?
I'm going to watch everybody, and you can watch us watching them,
We got to
and
decide
we'll tell
who
you
we're
what we
starting.
think.
We're starting T.Y. Are you starting Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor,
Week 1 after some suspect.
Man, you probably took him kind of high. Marlon Mack's still there. I thought I saw Marlon Mack pop up as questionable. If Marlon Mack misses this game and Jonathan Taylor starts, you made a great decision getting Jonathan Taylor. So I think you can start him.
Jonathan Taylor shares.
Yeah, you can give him a go.
I think I'm starting him. I'm at least flexing him.
Yeah, they should again. The game script should be just pounding it.
You had to pay probably at least top 4 or 5 round pick for him. I think you have to start him, regardless. You starting Marlon Mack then?
Michael Pittman Jr. is the other one who's a rookie this year who's got some good hype, kind of a Mike Williams type build. Yeah. I'm keeping an eye on him.
Zach Pascal.
Nope.
No
thanks. No, Pascal is
hard pass.
No, he's not gonna. It's gonna be those 3 guys that are Ty.
Here's an interesting one. Is Rivers flexible here?
Yeah.
Or streamable.
I considered picking up Rivers. I was like, those drafts. I'm like, all right, I should go late round QB. I was looking at Big Ben.
Because the offensive line's there.
So Big Ben's got the New York Giants, and again, Rivers has Jacksonville. He's going to be behind a good line. He's got some talented young talent and T.Y. Hilton. And they've got Doyle there, who's kind of a good tight end. They got good running backs. Yeah, it's just then I would see Lamar. I want that, and I just took Lamar or Kyler.
Pocket said, "Does Rivers have an arm left?" Some of it, I think enough.
That'll be the question, really. Is like, does he still have the talent to get it to these guys? I think the situation for Rivers, if he can still chuck it, is like a really good situation for a quarterback.
When he threw it, it always seemed like he had a hitch in his giddy up. Like he had a big shoulder pad that he had to throw around.
He's got like 15 kids. He's tired.
That's true. I mean, he's just carrying kids around all day. He's gonna. I think he can field a full NFL team now, right? I think he's got. I think he's got 9 kids now, so he can do a full 11.
No, but hey, that's a great one. That if let's say you just waited on quarterback and you took. Let's say you took Joe Burrow or you took Drew Lock. You're like, oh, these rookies, I like them. And you and they come out and they just lay an egg. And you're like, oh, no.
Right.
That might be a good pivot if you can get to Rivers or Roethlisberger.
Yeah, no, I would agree. All right. What's our who do you got in this game?
Let's touch on Jacksonville real quick. Gardner, he's another kind of flyer quarterback you could have if you got a 2-quarterback league. I
don't know if I'm
How do you feel about their running backs? Do you even know their names yet?
Yeah. I think you can probably flex Chris Thompson this week.
Yep. I might put him in my flex in one of my leagues,
he's
a PPR.
Startable and depending on team makeup. I think you have to start DJ Shark because there's gonna be a lot of garbage time element to this game.
Agreed.
And I think DJ Shark is gonna be a fan of that.
Yeah, Gardner likes him. They had good chemistry.
Chris Thompson, if he stays healthy for the entire game, they'll be throwing it to him.
In the Yahoo League, and it's probably too late. You probably had your drafts, but just a side note, the Yahoo League that I had, Chris Thompson was way, way, way down on the list. And sometimes when people, they're just scrolling through, even guys like us that, you're scrolling down, to look, and you really had to go low to find Chris Thompson. Yeah. So I was able to get him after my kicker and defense in a league. Feel good about it. His PPR. He's actually, the fantasy footballers have him ranked fairly highly on their list of guys above, some talented names that you took a lot higher.
I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes in the mid-wide receiver 2 this week. It depends on the garbage time, really.
Considering flexing him in the league.
If the Chargers if the Colts get off to a quick start and score a bunch of points in the first half, I could see a lot of points coming towards Thompson and Shark and maybe even DD. But
last Jacksonville player I'll mention, Laviska Shenault. He's a rookie. Again, just a bruiser, a pounder.
Watch him.
I'm just telling you. So
just watch him.
You know who you're starting probably this week, and I'm just telling you guys to keep an eye on. So a talented rookie who could get volume. I have him in one league where he's deep on my bench. But if he goes out there and he gets 2 targets and looks bad, he's gone. He's going to be one of those guys that I cut quickly.
Laviska?
I'm going to cut bait quick on Laviska.
I don't know.
But I'm rooting for him. I hope he's great.
Our Dynasty Mayans seek
we do, rookies. Yeah. So playing in the Dynasty, them to do well. Playing in the Dynasty really does help you just be aware of these young guys so that you know who to watch.
It throws your values off, though.
It does. You got the hype. I'm on the hype train.
We're all on the train.
Next week we'll be on the bust bus. And
yeah, I agree. All right. So how many points do you think the Colts win by?
3 toucouts. They just demolish them. They just
crush them. All right. So you heard it here first. Take
a blowout.
Take the Colts plus. All right. Who's next?
Next, we've got the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens.
Browns at the Ravens.
Fun to watch. Just Ravens, Browns.
Finally,
fun
a good,
game.
interesting football game. A lot of fantasy options here. How many people are you starting from this game?
I'm starting Lamar.
Let's count
I'm
him.
just
You're
so
starting
happy
Lamar.
with his 68
Obviously,
points he puts up.
You starting Ingram?
Yeah, I think if you took Ingram, this
Are
is
you
where
starting
you start.
Dobbins?
No, you're waiting on Dobbins.
Not starting Dobbins?
No, you got to see what happens. He's buried deep on that depth chart, which again, that's a lot of. They just put the guys that have been there.
I've seen Dobbins as a hot pick for DFS.
They've got the Gus bus, a DFS maybe, but no. I'm
he's
waiting.
So cheap.
He's not going to
3
get the volume.
touchdowns. The bong must be off to the side. I won't move the camera.
They're going to crush Jacksonville. Jacksonville is tanking. You were right. They're just tanking.
They're going to try and lose every game for sure. All right, so we're starting Ingram. Dobbins is a popular DFS choice. I can see Dobbins getting some action. Are you starting Hollywood?
I'm not, but I could see if people do. Again, he's got that boom potential every week.
Who else are you starting on that side?
The Ravens, there's some rookies. Again, none of them, like some of those guys that I've mentioned I'm watching, I'm like really considering, if they have a good game, picking them up. There's some guys there. They got Devin Duvernay. If you got them in your dynasty, you're curious to see what you got there.
Absolutely.
But I'm watching the rookies on that team more to see I want to see how many pass attempts Lamar has in this game. I want to see his passing to rushing ratio.
Well, he ccame out week 1 last year and threw the ball a lot. Just kind of dominated and said, I'm going to throw the ball.
And I think the guy that I'm worried about is Mark, the tight end. Is it Mark Ingram? No, it's not that. Help me out. The tight end on the Ravens. He went high. A lot of drafts. Mark Andrews. So Mark Andrews is a guy that I think he could have a much worse year than last year. I think he's going to have less touchdowns. I think they're going to throw it to the other guys more than they did to him last year. They got Hollywood Brown's coming back. He's healthy. They got some wide receivers that they picked up that are usable. I've heard some good things about Willie Snead, who I'm never taking in any league. I'm not picking him up in Dynasty. I don't. But he's a guy that plays football.
Snead used to be fantasy relevant. For sure fantasy relevant.
He's no longer fantasy relevant.
I don't know how you can not like Snead, but you like Uzama, who didn't get cut, by the way.
Because there are other receivers on that team, and there's Pocket Pool. You told me that Uzama got cut. Were you just trolling me? You're just messing.
He posts a link, tries to spam us, and
that link
just trolling.
That link was definitely a virus. It's been the long con. Pocket Pool.
It was probably definitely a Rickroll.
Won us over with his wonderful comments and deep insights.
It was most likely a Rickroll.
Also that he could just Rickroll us and tell me that Uzama was cut. I'm devastated.
I was so happy at the time, though. All right, so you're starting Andrews because you drafted him high. Ingram, flex maybe, Hollywood.
Ingram's a guy I'm looking to get rid of fast. If I can get a couple games out of him and I can flip him when he's high, I'm looking to get rid of him. Because I think that Dobbins is going to come on late year and take over.
The Ravens are going to just run so many times. I think they can support a bunch of different runners. What about from the Browns side? OBJ, you're starting, right?
I don't like OBJ. Didn't take him anywhere. I think he's washed.
You have to start him.
Don't think he's going to be good.
You have to start him. Landry,
I like. He's a good floor play. He's going to get the volume. If you got him in PPR, fire him up.
Njoku,
no.
Njoku's dead. The site said he was cut.
How do you feel about Baker? Give us a Baker take.
I think I can start Baker here against the Ravens. Again,
I made a mistake.
If both offenses are ready to play and the Ravens put up points, they're going to have to throw. Baker's a bum. Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless of that, he's going to have to throw the ball a lot.
Here's what I'll say about Baker. Again, if you drafted Baker, I hope you drafted another quarterback for this game.
Again, I think you can stream. Yeah.
If you play Baker against the Ravens,
Disappointed!
You're not going to be happy with the outcome.
You want Rivers over.
I want Rivers over Baker
for
this week again,
okay.
And then if you can drop Rivers and get Baker when he's got a good matchup, but I'm not firing him up after a bad year, coming back with a new coach.
Are you starting Hunt and Chubb?
Depending on my team for Hunt, maybe if it's a PPR and I need a flex, yeah.
What I like is
he's not an auto start for me.
What I like though is they both get enough work. I think Hunt, even his floor probably is still 6 points. That's enough for me.
Hunt catches balls. He could have a touchdown. He's a very talented running back.
The problem is, again, to my point before, if you're looking for boom bust guys, it's going to be hard for either of those guys to boom.
And that's news worth noting is that Kareem Hunt did sign, I believe, a 2-year deal with the Browns, so he's going to be back in Cleveland, and Chubb's still going to be there. I think that this really hurts his value for dynasty or for keeper. He was a guy I was kind of targeting, hoping that he would end up going to another team. Again, I like the Falcons for him. I like the Steelers for him if he could go there. But coming back to the Browns with Chubb still there, it just really
I think
hurts his value.
You can still.
If Chubb gets hurt,
I like Hunt more than I like Chubb. I'm starting both of them, but I think Hunt can be pretty useful this week if the Browns get down like early. I think they can dump off a lot to Hunt. He can be pretty productive.
Part of Hunt's kind of hidden value is that if Chubb gets hurt, he could easily just win your league. He's talented enough to be the workhorse for that team if Chubb's not there.
All right. Who you got winning this game?
I'm going to take the Ravens.
By how many?
10
touchdowns.
10 points.
10 touchdowns?
Yeah.
10 points. All right. Who's next?
We got the, let's see, I'm going to make sure that your games that you got pulled up are the same as mine. So next we have Cincinnati Bengals at the Los Angeles Chargers. Cincinnati Bengals with their brand shiny new quarterback.
AJ.
Former Clemson Tiger, now goes to the Bengals, the Tiger King.
I saw Tiger.
Joe Burrow, greatest quarterback or great quarterback?
We've had some pretty good luck with rookie quarterbacks lately being good.
Fantasy relevant.
Yeah. Lamar, Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray. We've had a lot of good quarterbacks coming out. So hopefully it sticks with Joe Burrow so we can get my AJ Green the ball a lot.
Yeah, Ravens defense tough at home. Completely agree. If you picked up the Ravens defense, Nick actually traded away Bryce Love for the Ravens defense.
In Dynasty, I traded Bryce Love for the Ravens defense
so we'll
2
see.
weeks ago.
Bryce
Maybe
Love
3 weeks ago.
could be nothing, whereas the Ravens defense will be something.
It will be
I'll
something.
give you that. But
I do like the trade.
Yeah, so I think that, let's see.
Bengals, who can you start from the middle? You're starting Mixon. You're not starting Joe Burrow week 1, are you? I mean, the Chargers don't really scare you from a defensive perspective.
Well, they had their good safety. What is it? Derwin James. He got injured, so that really hurts their secondary a lot.
Yeah. I think still Melvin Ingram, but
yeah, Melvin Ingram again. Did he work out all his kind of contract stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
No, he's back.
They've got a good defensive line. They should be able to pressure a rookie quarterback. CJ Uzomah, 3 touchdowns. Just get that in there.
CJ Uzomah over under.
CJ Uzomah has a touchdown in this game. Write it down. It's happening. 1 touchdown for CJ.
Please, I will mute his mic. If
4 receptions and a touchdown.
No chance CJ Uzomah has a touchdown this game.
I think there's a chance.
No. Hard pass.
AJ Green, over or under 4 plays before the injury.
Oh, my goodness. If he plays?
If
he plays, I think AJ Green 6 for 60.
I tried to save it on my phone, but an article popped up. Like I get the little alerts and it'll be an article, and it's like it had him as the top of the list of guys that are going to bust and disappoint this year.
CJ Uzomah over under 10 total snaps.
I'll
take the over on the snaps.
I'm not a huge better like that kind of bet, but I would bet
over under 0.5 catches.
He'll be on the field for 75% of snaps.
75%.
He's going to be out there, man. Because again, Drew Sample's not good. They took him high, unless
Neither is CJ Uzomah.
CJ Uzomah, again, he's
just there because they didn't want to have to clear out his locker.
Of his targets, his catch percentage is good.
Come on.
Not dropped.
We're supposed to be giving good fantasy advice here. All right. So Bengals, you're starting Mixon. Are you starting AJ Green? You're probably no. Prove it.
No, I'm not picking him up off
Boyd?
of the waiver wire. I'm not looking at AJ Green. I'm not falling into the trap.
You wouldn't pick up AJ Green out the come on.
It's a trap.
Tyler Boyd?
I like Tyler Boyd. Just infinitely better than AJ Green.
You're the worst person.
Oh, my God. If you could get Tyler Boyd as like your third wide receiver or as your flex.
So you got another Uzomah truther in here.
All right.
65% or more.
See, no, he's just going to be out. That's what I'm saying. He's going to be out there, and he's like got decent talent.
I hate it all. So you're starting Tyler Boyd. You're starting Mixon. I'm starting AJ Green. I'm going to roll him out there.
Give it a go. There's a chance. But again, it's worth noting that he has had just like multiple little injuries throughout.
It's kind of like the final Kobe season, RIP. He wasn't great, but you just put him out there. He just chucked the ball at the rim. It was awful, and you just clapped and and nodded your head and said, "We're witnessing greatness." I hope he just gets peppered with targets. We'll see.
This is going to be you to AJ Green after like week 2.
Now I'd like to begin today by apologizing on behalf of you to me.
Oh man, you know when
And
you've
that apology is not accepted.
you know when you've like committed to a player and you're that player's champion. And
we're talking about Uzama, are we not? Like, let's just each take a Bengal and then talk like we love them, and then let them hurt us. Like,
oh man. All right, so from the Chargers side, Keenan Allen is still a great value every season.
Yes.
You're rolling his...
I got Keenan Allen as my wide receiver 2 in a league, and I'm psyched about it.
You're rolling Keenan Allen.
He should get volume. He's got that touchdown potential. Mike Williams practiced today. His shoulder's banged up. I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah.
I'm not real excited about any other wide receivers on that team. I'm not running to pick up the guy who's going to play in Mike Williams' spot.
You're starting Eckler.
Eckler, yeah. You took Eckler high. He should be good for PPR. I like him
Nothing
more
crazy from this game, though. I don't think you're starting Tyrod.
Hunter Henry?
Hunter Henry.
So we have a co-managed league, and our decision is, are we playing Higbee or Hunter Henry? Who do you go
I'm
with?
playing Higbee this week.
All right.
I think I still
agree.
need to see that Hunter Henry can finish 4 full quarters.
He did it last year. I think Hunter Henry will be a value. If you used him, if you got him, he's going to be your tight end that you use.
I'm interested to see if they stick with how long they stick with Tyrod. Do they stick with them for the entire season? Herbert. What about Herbert? Mr. Sherbert. So I don't know if you watched any of.
No, you talk about Herbert because you've seen the canon.
I've seen the canon. I'm a Herbert truther almost now. Just seeing him throw the ball 5 or 6 times. I think it's something with the Hard Knocks filming. They just lure you in. But he's looked pretty good on there. I wouldn't be surprised if.
Oh, I like that.
I do kind of like it.
All
I do
right.
kind of like it. I'm not hating just yet.
But back to your question, I think that the Chargers' schedule for start of the year is easy to middle of the road.
Yeah.
If Tyrod's winning, I think they keep going with him until he loses. Like,
That makes sense.
there are arguments that people say that Herbert, you just no matter what happens, you got to get him out there midway through the season
Over
so you
under
see what you got.
5.5 weeks before they switch.
I think that if they come out and win 4 out of their 5 first games, they stick with Tyrod. If they lose, if they're 1-4, they're going to Herbert. I think it completely depends on whether they win or lose games.
All right, we got a lot of games to get through here. Bucs Saints.
Not enough games.
Bucs Saints is gonna be a fun one, right?
It's gonna be.
This is what we're waiting for, right?
It's gonna be the most fun.
It's gonna be the most fun.
It's gonna be the most fun that anyone has ever had watching football.
And it's probably gonna be sloppy, awful football. But I hope it's so good.
They should have moved this to the Monday night, or
Why is it? I hope this game goes 50-50, but it won't. I think this is gonna be underwhelming, just to our expectations.
Oh no! It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be a shootout. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Like what world is it not great? Like
when they have, this is gonna be all of like the fantasy studs feel like you're in this game. You got Godwin, you got Evans, you got Tom Brady, you got Leonard Fournette now who will play. How many snaps does Leonard Fournette play?
Hey man, he just got in there. They said he picked stuff up quick. I'll give him.
You're not starting him though, right?
So I think if
you can't start Fournette week 1.
I think no, you're starting with Rojo. They've repeatedly declared him as the guy. He's their guy. I don't know that they believe it because you picked up LaShawn McCoy and you picked up Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Kind of the story I heard was that Arians loves his old guys. He loves his his veterans. That team's built up of you got Tom Brady, Gronk, you got LaShawn McCoy, Leonard Fournette.
Obviously, Leonard Fournette is better than the rest of the guys. Leonard Fournette gets 50% week 1. I'll take the under.
I'll take the under. I think that they go with Rojo. I think that they might even give him more leeway than last year if he misses a pass protection or if he gets a fumble where maybe he doesn't just get put in purgatory the whole time. But yeah, Leonard Fournette. Here's a question: does LaShawn McCoy, does he see more than 5 touches?
I don't think they're fantasy relevant.
I think they're going with Rojo and Leonard Fournette.
So
I think those are the 2 guys now.
Do you think Evans is an auto start every week?
Yeah, if he's healthy. I think I just saw a report that he is not healthy, however. I think he's got a little injury. If he doesn't play,
I saw that.
You like Chris Godwin better.
I just don't, to Pocket's question earlier, if Rivers has an arm, I don't know how much Tom Brady is going to throw. We haven't seen Tom Brady in a offense with this many weapons.
No, he's going to throw it. He's going to sling it. He can do it.
You think
he's
he's
Tom Brady?
Sling it?
It's Tom Brady.
Over under 25 passing attempts for Tom Brady this week.
Over. They're going to throw, man.
Over 30.
Again, I think if he gets I think it could be around there, though. I think they're going to air it out. I think that the Saints can put up points. Here's the thing. The Saints defense is pretty good. I will give the Saints the win in this game. Okay. They've got a lot less change on their team. Their defense is better.
Saints are favored by 3.5, which is basically the home field goal.
But I hope it's a shootout. I hope it's in the 50s for both teams.
Oh, that'd be great. But so you have to start Evans, Godwin. I don't know if I'm starting Tom Brady, but I guess you kind of have to.
I want to see what happens with the tight ends.
I
want to see who's out there. I want to see what their snap percentage is.
If Gronk puts up 20 points.
If Gronk puts up that many points, Nick's going to be selling him. I know Nick likes Gronk and he's talked up Gronk. He's going to sell him instantly. No. If Gronk comes out and shows out at all in our Dynasty League, I know you, and he's going to trade him to Andrew for a first-round pick. It's happening.
Okay, well, if somebody's going to give me a first-round pick for him in Dynasty, then I would consider it then.
What if O.J. Howard goes out there and just doesn't have a great game but is out there 80% of the snaps?
You keep trying to make O.J. Howard a thing.
What if it happens?
O.J. Howard.
I just want to know, if he's out there.
I think
does everybody run into the wire
for
OJ?
More fantasy relevant than O.J. Howard.
I like it. So
I knew that would end the conversation. Yeah. All right, and then the other side, you're starting.
Oh, and what was the chat comment? They had a question about. Let's see.
They were just wondering why Evans was hurt.
Okay.
And then that hard take of Fournette gets 50%.
Yeah, I think it was like a light hammy kind of thing for Evans.
And Saints, you're starting your usuals: Breeze, Thomas.
You could glance at Emmanuel Sanders,
Kamara.
So let's talk about Kamara. So I saw a report. I don't think they have a contract deal done yet, but they're working on it. And the reports, I was listening to some more of I think it's Pro Fantasy Doc. They have some reports on things. And they were talking about his getting an epidural for his back, and they said that a reason that sometimes people get that is if they have a slipped disc or some kind of spinal disc injury. That's a concern. You don't want guys with back issues.
From the other things that I've seen, though, they said it's pretty common.
It worries me. So I had the third pick, and I just went with Zeke. I went with the safe pick, and again, if Kamara hadn't had any kind of contract stuff, if he hadn't had any kind of injury report stuff, I'd be more on him. But in our auction league, he went for fairly low again, and I think it was because of these reports. So there's definitely
they're calling the over under for this game at 48 points. So
over,
you'll take the over.
But there's some trepidation with Kamara, and there's a little concern.
Are you starting anybody else from the Saints side? I don't think so.
If you took Jared Cook, but
I don't know if you're starting Jared Cook this week.
If he's I
guess if
a
you're
lot of the tight
ends,
it's
this would be the week,
if this is the guy you took him,
he scares me. Emmanuel Sanders.
Again, he's a name that's worth noting.
It would completely make sense that Emmanuel Sanders gets 7 catches for 50 yards, and we're like, of course.
Yeah.
Of course Emmanuel Sanders would get that target share.
It's not crazy to think that could happen at all.
I don't mind a sneaky flex player DFS start for Sanders this week.
Who's the guy? I think it's his 3rd or 4th year there. Is it Traquan?
Traquan
Smith. There's been some good reports about him. I don't think he's...
There's good reports about everybody.
I've taken the shot on him in the past, and it hasn't panned out.
Battle of Gronk versus O.J. Howard. The thing is, dual tight end offense, just what Brady needs again. Maybe. Again, I don't know how many times Brady's going to throw the ball.
It's just going to be Brady. The writing is on the wall.
It'll be Traquan Smith. Traquan's not going to be fancy relevant, I don't think.
A guy to watch.
The watch list is growing. All right, who's next? We can move on from this matchup. Cardinals versus the 49ers, which has the same over-under point line of 48 points.
So that was one of the things when I'm picking up Kyler. You got to be aware that he's got a tough matchup. I don't think that the 49ers defense is going to be what it was last year. I think that their offense, they're all banged up. Last I saw was today, their rookie, Brandon Ayuk, as well as Deebo Samuel, both did not practice today. Wouldn't shock me if they don't go. A guy that I had picked up in Dynasty that I was glancing at is Trent Taylor. Trent Taylor's a little bit younger. He was out last year with a foot injury. He got some hype before the foot injury last year. I think he could be a guy that you could spot start this week, but I ended up dropping him and picking up Stills because I'd just rather see, if Stills can come in and be the 2 for the Texans for a while. But a guy worth noting is Trent Taylor might have a big game, but he might be a guy that is a little bit of fool's gold. You don't want to just run to the wire and blow all your fab on him because Debo and Ayuk look like they will be coming back in the next couple of weeks.
Garoppolo, his passes downfield, his average, he's got like the Trubisky average downfield passing of
dinks and dunks.
2.5 yards.
So Trent Taylor.
Kittle's the only startable option here,
Kittle all
especially
day.
week 1.
Kittle's going to get a lot of work.
Kittle, you can't start Garoppolo. Can you start Coleman? Can you start Mostert?
You can start Mostert. Again, you took him high.
Are we watching Coleman?
Yeah. We're watching.
I might have to start Coleman. We'll
watching
see what
everybody.
happens with some injuries,
personally probably don't want to start Coleman. I think
they're going to run a lot, though.
So all the guys, especially if Ayuk doesn't play, the guy I'm most excited to watch is actually the third running back on their roster, McKinnon. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see if he gets volume. I want to see if he catches balls. And
in his 3 plays before he gets hurt,
I'm curious if
closely.
I can get a squeeze a game out of him before the injury. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I like him.
Traquan's only legit at home. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I think Sammy Watkins is more consistent than Traquan.
And Sammy is not consistent.
He is. That's the joke. All right. So we're starting Kyler Murray this week, obviously.
Yeah.
We're starting Hopkins. Anybody? We're starting Drake if he is healthy.
You're looking at Larry Fitzgerald. If he comes out, and he had a little bit kind of injury last year, but if he comes out and has a big game, he could be
Fitzgerald could be a sneaky flex
end of your
play
bench guy. Andy Isabella is a young rookie on the team that, like, again, if you're in a dynasty, keep an eye on him. He could be more relevant next year.
I wonder why these over-unders aren't very high this week. I mean, the highest one is 51.5, and most of them are 48 or under. I think it's probably just week 1, everybody getting their feet under them. But I think some of these games could pop off. I mean, if you took a lot of these overs, I have a feeling you're going to be hitting on some of them. Cardinals, who else are you starting?
I'm staying away from their tight ends. They don't use a tight end very often. Kenyon Drake. If you pick Kenyon, I like Kenyon. Mm-hmm. We'll see what his health really looks like. They've been saying he's fine with his walking boot on, just a fashion statement. But I want to see if they get him out here, what his snap count's like. If Chase Edmonds, how much do they use him? They've also got a rookie on their team that's a running back. I believe it's Eno Benjamin that I don't think they'll use. I don't think he's a great talent, but
he was an undrafted free agent, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think he got drafted.
Was he drafted?
Yeah, it wasn't super early.
Gotcha.
But just a name.
All right, and then from we already did the 49ers side, so who are you taking? You taking the 49ers here?
I will take the Cardinals.
Really?
In an upset.
49ers are favored by 7.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to score more this year.
Chad, who are you taking this week? I think
this
is the biggest spread. So would you bet money on the Cardinals?
The 49ers offense it's busted. Like, they lost Jalen Hurd, they lost Debo, they lost Ayuk. They have Kittle, who's great, but again, you can stop a tight end better than you can stop some other positions.
49ers are really hurt right now. Yeah.
Kenyon's banged up. I don't think Chase Edmonds is very good. He had good blow-up games last year, but I don't think he's a great talent. I don't like their other running back. I think that Garoppolo is a mediocre quarterback. I think that there's a lot of things lining up, whereas on the other side of the ball, you've got the Cardinals. They've got now Kyler is no longer his rookie year. He's got a year under his belt. Things were starting to pick up for their offense at the end of the year. They signed Kenyon Drake, who got some continuity going. If he can be healthy, he could have a big game. He had a big game last time he played against the 49ers, which I believe was his first or second game for the team. They picked up Hopkins, who they didn't have before. I think that there's if I'm making a bet on the game, I'm betting on the Cardinals.
Okay. All right. Our next
especially with 7 points.
Our next matchup, Cowboys-Rams.
All right, so
this is the highest point total over-under at 51.5.
Man, I want to see the Cowboys offense. I want CeeDee Lamb to just...
This is going to be a fun game to watch. I do think if both offenses can get a few points on the board, they could just get in a good roll and this could be fun.
So one of my leagues, I picked from the 3 spot, and I actually took Calvin Ridley before Amari Cooper, and Amari made it back to me again after like those 4 whatever picks that came in between. So I got Amari Cooper, even though he's probably most teams he'd be considered my wide receiver 1 as like my wide receiver 2 behind Calvin. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. He's ranked highly everywhere. There's a lot of analysts that like him. He can have those big games where he scores a lot of points. The Cowboys should put up points. They should throw the ball. They should be able to put up points and move the ball. Real excited to see CeeDee Lamb again. I think that my expectations have been tempered a little bit. I don't start him.
Can you start Gallup?
I think you can start Gallup. I would start Gallup over CeeDee Lamb. I had a league, so that league I got Amari kind of. Again, inadvertently, he hasn't been one of my guys. He hasn't been a guy I've targeted. He fell far enough that the value was there. And I wanted to almost handcuff him with CeeDee Lamb, where if I can have Amari and he gets hurt, I think CeeDee Lamb's value is going to shoot up real high. So I rarely, if ever, kind of do that with wide receivers. But if it's a rookie with super high talent who, if he can just get that opportunity, I think he could blow up.
There's a lot of mouths to feed there now, though.
There's a lot. People like Blake Jarwin. People like Blake Jarwin.
I'm starting Gallup. I'm starting Cooper. I'm starting Prescott.
If Jarwin's not rostered and he blows up, like if he has a medium game, I think that he's not going to be there for you anymore. I think that if people have heard the name now, they know that there's potential there.
From the Rams side, you're starting Higbee, most likely.
Yeah.
You're starting Robert Woods for sure. You're starting Cooper Kupp for sure. I think Pocket mentioned earlier about he'd rather start Jared Goff over any of the guys we were mentioning earlier.
That's an interesting take. This could be a shootout. Dallas's defense, again, is kind of middle of the road. They got good linebackers, but their defensive line isn't great.
Right.
So, yeah, I think you could take the shot on Goff. And Goff, he's a guy who shows up sometimes. Here's the question that I want to know. So I've got Cam Akers on a team. How do you feel about Cam? Are you starting
Goff,
him?
He shows up sometimes. That's some good analysis there.
That's better than I'm not saying you have to avoid him like Baker.
Oh man, no, that's the same crap I've been saying too. Goff could have a rebound year, big weapons in LA. It's interesting. You trade Cooks away and then we say they have more weapons. I don't know. Because you have Akers. You get rid of Gurley and you get rid of Brandon.
I don't think they have more weapons. I think last year they had weapons, but their weapons weren't healthy. Like Brandon Cooks wasn't healthy a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Gurley was kind of, again, I think getting towards the end of his usefulness but he was good on the goal line, but he wasn't great in the passing game.
They could be a fun offense to watch if they can kind of get the defense back together and get a little bit healthy on the offensive line. I think they could be all right.
So are you comfortable starting Cam Akers as like your running back 2 in this game?
No.
You're thinking Malcolm Brown's going to get some play?
I don't want to start any of the
you don't want to start any of them
running backs right now.
Okay, Darrell Henderson, if he misses, I think maybe you fire up Cam Akers.
Yeah, I think this is one of those backfields we're going to have to wait and see for sure. We're going to have to watch it.
This could turn into an air-it-out, shootout kind of game.
They
could
I
just
hope
be
it
throwing.
does. Robert Woods could just go off this game.
I got Woods in one. I like Woods. He was, again,
I do too.
As with all other years, just chronically undervalued.
Woods, 9 for 110 and a touchdown.
Reasonable. Yeah, I think you're pretty happy about that.
Yeah. No, I'd be very happy with that. Very happy with that. All right. I think we're pretty much over that. That's going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch that one. For those of you still watching the stream here, we're going to, on Sunday from noon until through the games, we're going to be live on Twitch, running through the fantasy relevant things that are happening during the day.
Yeah, I am actually going to be coming back that day from out of town and be at my brother's wedding, but I'm going to try and make it back. So hopefully we can get in there, watch some games. If you're just looking for a couple of knuckleheads to hang out with, talk about football, jump in the chat. We'd be happy to have you.
Be kind of like Red Zone, but for fantasy football.
Yeah,
at least that's the idea. All right, next one. Who you got?
We got the so there are 2 Monday night games, and we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Giants. The New York Football
Starting
Giants.
Roethlisberger here?
I call them the New York Football Jets earlier too. That's all right. It's just good to know in case there's a minor league soccer team that's also the Jets.
Have you guys in red zone on? See, that's all. That's all we
all
want.
Right,
we can
Pocket.
all chat. We can all hang
You're
out.
our number one fan.
React together. Number one.
I'll forgive you for the Uzama fake
We need
out.
to get to 50 followers so we can get you a sub. All right, so Steelers. I'm starting Roethlisberger this week. I think if you're part of the streaming quarterback plan, I think you're starting.
I think there are teams that took Roethlisberger. They waited on quarterback. They got Roethlisberger.
I would agree.
Fire him up.
Even though it's an away game. Even though it's away Roethlisberger, I think you can still start him here.
So that is a good point. Is Roethlisberger has historically performed better away or at home than away, and he is coming off an injury.
The site said he was cut. I'm telling you, he wasn't cut.
Outrageous. That site.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe he asked and begged for his job.
I tell you to send me the link so I could write him a sternly worded letter, but I don't want you to get booted out of the chat. No, your comments deleted.
All right, so Steelers are starting Roethlisberger. You're starting Juju.
Yeah, so I got Juju almost on accident in our auction league, but the value was there, so I picked him up. He's projected pretty high. The reports out of camp, he's had a couple good days, but not, it's not like some of the people where it's like, oh, he's amazing. It's more like, Juju's there. He's playing.
Whatever.
But Roethlisberger's played with him before. He hasn't played with Johnson, who he has had more of the buzz, is Deontay Johnson.
Definitely.
Rookie last year, getting balls thrown, and, it sounds like Ben likes him. So look for him. He got
Juju.
Got taken a little higher than where I was trying to grab him in drafts, but he could be, a value. He could pan out.
Pocket wants to know about the Ebron.
Ebron getting some hype.
Could be a sneaky tight end play.
Chase Claypool is also kind of a big-bodied wide receiver that could have been listed as a tight end. They ended
I'm
up
interested to
listing
see
him
how
as a
that
wide
battle
receiver.
works out. They like Deontay Johnson. They like Claypool. I'm curious to see who Big Ben throws to.
Yeah, they like Juju. They like Ebron. They like everybody right now.
Everybody likes everybody.
Everybody likes everybody.
Big Ben does like his
and
tight
I think
ends.
Vance McDonald is actually still on the team.
So Ebron, again, with the Lions was awful. He couldn't catch anything except a cold.
I'm going to disagree. The Lions, it wasn't Ebron's fault. The Lions were bad at using Ebron.
But Ebron didn't catch the balls that were thrown to him.
I think they didn't throw him good balls. Like, I
what do you
disagree.
mean?
So
everybody else caught him.
Fast forward to the
Everybody
Colts.
else can
What
catch
does he do with the
Stafford's
Colts?
footballs?
He catches balls. Like, so if Ebron is on one team and he doesn't,
but that's
catch
what I mean.
it,
He's shown a tendency to.
I think
to
it's the
learn how to use
Lions.
his hands better. So
I don't think it was Ebron. I think it was the Lions.
Yeah. I think if they use Ebron as the sole tight end, I think he could be a startable asset. I agree. I don't hate that. I do like that call.
One to watch.
Another watch lister. What about from the Giants side? You're starting Connors.
From the Giants side, yeah, you're starting Saquon. I got him. I'm not a huge Saquon guy, but
I don't understand.
So he's had injuries again.
I'm not a big fan of really good running backs.
So here's the thing about Saquon.
Not interested.
Again, he gets banged up and he's on a bad team. Like the Giants, I just don't think are a good
it doesn't
football
matter.
team.
He puts up points every week that he's healthy. He doesn't bust.
He's busted. He's had bust games.
His bust weeks are like 9 points.
But again, he gets beat up because they give him the volume, and he just hasn't shown kind of the ability to hold up like some of the other guys. I just worry about him because you got to take him so high. That's the other thing.
He had 10 touchdowns a few years ago. I don't know if that's right.
That was for the Colts. That is correct.
Yeah, but that was a few years ago. That was like
2 years ago, 3 years ago, two years ago. So completely accurate.
No. Two.
That's pretty neat.
Oh my goodness. We're all about accuracy here. Saquon, you starting Golden Tate?
I am not.
Sterling
He's
Shepard?
coming off an injury. I like Golden Tate in drafts, but then he got a little, I think he had a hammy or some kind of thing like that. So now I'm fading him. Go with Sterling Shepard. I think he's going to be the wide receiver one for that team. Darius Slayton, the rookie last year.
Hold up.
Sure.
We'll do it live.
Player 3 is entered.
All right, here we go.
Alrighty.
So anyways.
Ingram, yeah, I think you're starting Ingram.
I got Ingram in one league. I'm psyched about it. If he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be real productive. There was a report where they want to get him. I think the 1,000-yard season for him is not outside of the realm of possibility.
I think that's outside the realm of possibility.
I was real happy with where I was able to get him. I did reach a little bit, but still got him in a later round.
I think you're hoping for,
If he can stay healthy, I think he's great.
If he can get you 700 yards and touchdowns, you're happy.
I don't think I've said it before, but I don't think the wide receivers on that team like command targets. They're not like, the studs that like you got to get them on the ball. You got to throw them this many targets a game. And I think that they'll spread it around. I think Evan Ingram could have, a good amount of targets a game. And he's proven his ability. He's got good hands. And he can get that, those touchdowns. So I
Leonard
like
Fournette said, first time I really have a QB. Talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
How dare you besmirch Gardner Minshew like that?
Oh my goodness.
I hope Gardner goes and just,
that is hilarious. All right.
TP's his house. Doesn't that feel like the most Gardner move?
Pretty much. And you're not starting Daniel Jones, right?
No, I'm not. Again, he's got bad matchups for the first part of the season. Look for him on waivers, around week 5.
An interesting one. This is probably why they put it at 9 o'clock. You got Titans Broncos. You a fan of this?
So
late.
Grab Judy in some leagues.
This is Judge Judy.
And
that one sounds terrible.
That's my worst quality drop.
It sounds awful.
I tell you, it's hard to find a really solid Judge Judy drop on the internet, Nick. I apologize. There's not just all kinds of places where you can go find this is Judge Judy's sound drop.
All right.
But yeah, I love Judge Judy. I think that, he was listed as a starter. Looks like KJ Hamler, their other highly drafted rookie, is battling through injury, might not play. I think he's going to be the volume guy. I think Cortland Sutton's going to be the big play guy, and I like it a lot. So he's one I'm going with.
I'm starting Cortland Sutton. I don't think I'm starting Judy week 1.
I don't know if I'm starting him week 1, but I've definitely got him on my teams before the blow up.
I'm gonna start.
You have to roster him.
I'm gonna start
now.
Sutton. This is gonna be the first 3 or 4 games for Drew Lock. I think are really gonna set the pace for the season because he's got all of the options. He can throw it to anybody, and they've been highly drafted or highly touted or highly hyped, and it's up to him to make it work.
So the thing I'm watching with the Broncos, I want to see how many times they throw the ball versus run the ball. I want to see what the split is on that.
One pocket says Gordon Lindsay timeshare.
I think that's not outside the realm of possibility. I did, the reports on Gordon haven't been great. It sounds like he might have been a little bit out of shape. Sounds like he's not picking up everything. He's not just been like the breakaway, this is the guy, he's going to be our workhorse. I think Lindsey does get the ball. I think they like him there. He's been around. He knows the offense. He's, rushed for 1,000 yards, I think, the past 2 years. And Lindsey's the kind of guy on your NFL team that if you can get this guy an undrafted rookie, no, I do hate Lindsey because he then ruins all the other real.
Don't put this facade on.
He ruins all the other running back assets.
You hate Philip Lindsay.
Next, this is almost the year where I almost picked up Lindsey, where it's
it's the year they get a real running back.
He's going so late. Melvin Gordon could get hurt.
They had Freeman before. For 2 seasons, you're like, nope, hate Philip Lindsay. He gets 20 carries a game. Nope, hate Philip Lindsay. Now they get Melvin Gordon. You're like, maybe I'll take Philip Lindsay. I don't know.
So, the reason is because it pushed his volume down, and again, all the other years is just.
So you think they'll use him more in his designed role?
I think that they're gonna use him more as what I always thought he could be, is more of like the second running back and not the primary running back.
It's hard for me to believe that he would have more output fantasy wise with less opportunities.
Say that again. You think that he'll have?
It's hard to believe that he'll have more fantasy production with less opportunity.
No, he'll have less opportunities, less production, but he went just much farther down where he could still be a usable
draft capital
piece.
You needed to spend.
Yeah, when one of your other guys gets hurt, especially if Gordon gets hurt. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't like him. I didn't pick him up. I still was like, but I think Melvin Gordon might not be a great where he went at that.
Pocket says, are you starting Gordon Lindsay as a flex play? I think I'm starting Gordon regardless.
I'm starting Gordon because of where I took him, but I think you could easily realize, I made a mistake.
I think you can.
Oh, I made a mistake.
In the pinch, I think you can flex Lindsay. I don't love it.
I don't. I think there's a lot of other guys I'd rather flex. Like a Ruggs is a perfect example of a guy that I'd rather flex.
All right, what about from the Titan side? You're starting Henry.
Yeah, you're starting Henry.
You're starting Tannehill.
Tannehill on the hill.
Tannehill. Legolas.
Let's see. Hold on.
Missed it by that much.
Just a bit outside.
Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill.
Oh man, I think he can. He could be good. He's gonna have boom bust games. I think he's gonna have good games where he hits AJ Brown. AJ Brown has been a little banged up. His injury isn't.
If you listen to the other, we haven't talked about Tannehill at all because I don't think either of us really are that interested.
He's not been our guy.
No.
I think just the boom bust potential worries me. He was great at the end of last year. He can be hyper efficient as well as his receivers because they set up the pass with the run where they just pound. Yeah. Everybody's just standing there hoping that Derrick Henry doesn't crush their face and stiff arm him into the end zone. Yeah. And then they just like, hey, I'll throw it to this other receiver who can also crush your face and stiff arm you into the end zone.
I mean, they have A.J. Brown. Do you start him this week?
So I actually have this decision. Let's go to the chat real quick first before I break that down. So Jonnu Smith might be a number 2 target. There are some analysts that are really high on Jonnu Smith. If you waited and got it like a tight end with your last couple picks.
Do they not still have Corey Davis? I mean, he's still a football player.
They do. Corey Davis exists. This might be his last year on the team, so he might be a dynasty target where if he goes somewhere else, his career could totally,
because he had all the metrics of a really, really good wide receiver.
He was either a first or second round draft pick also, but he's been around enough to realize they missed. He's not good. I think
if you see
he's not good for them at least.
No, but I think he's one of those forgotten guys. Like if you can get him for. He's obviously on waivers, but if you see a couple weeks where he's getting a little bit more involved or his snap percentage is going up, he might be on the watch list.
A guy to watch.
Yeah.
All right. And then you'll pick him up and
You got bamboozled.
Oh, he's still bad.
I know. I'm ready to be hurt again by Corey Davis and Devontae Parker.
I think if in a dynasty I could get Corey Davis for like a third or just somebody that I don't use at all, maybe I make that.
Yeah, Delaney Walker is gone now. Smith will be the number 1 tight end on the team. But Delaney Walker was hurt. Before he was hurt, he was used. But again, since Delaney Walker being viable for an entire 16 games, it's been several years and quarterbacks ago.
Again, a certain coach who's got a lot of credibility in the NFL,
Bill Belichick,
I believe, said that he thought Jonnu Smith was like one of the most talented tight ends in the NFL. So it's just something that, again, that's a good
coach speak.
I don't know that Bill coach speaks quite as much as some of the others. He's no Pete Carroll where everything's sunshine and rainbow.
Corey Davis for a bag of chips. I know, but again, if you're still on the Corey Davis,
if you got
train,
a bag of chips to trade away, though, hey,
we'll take them.
Yeah,
we'll take them. All right. Anybody else from this matchup that we want to talk about?
I had one in my head, and now I've already lost it.
It's gone.
Yep, but
into the wind. Alrighty, you want to round us out then?
Oh, let me just glance real quick.
News and notes
at that last set here. We got. If there's anybody else?
Kenyon Drake not listed on the final injury report.
So the Broncos, Drew Lock. You're not playing Drew Lock.
If you're in the chat, let us know what. The new name by Warwick. Yeah, we had to change it. Fantasy Addicts. It didn't really come up in the fancy football when you searched it.
Basically, we wanted to be searchable with football.
Yeah, we want people to be able to find us.
Yeah, we also we added the new border, so we're gonna be messing around with the graphic stuff. Made a banner we'll try and throw up later, but yeah, we're still figuring it out. We're getting going, but thanks.
David Montgomery officially limited Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't think it's smart to play him week 1. I think hopefully you can pull out a win against the Lions without him, and you're going to need him. There's not depth there. And if the Bears don't sign somebody, they're going to be in trouble.
By the way, do the Rams not learn? Rams not working on an extension with Cooper Kupp. They just can't pay people. When they pay people, it goes wrong.
Yeah, keep them hungry.
They should know better. Brandon Cook's quad was limited. We already talked about that. Devontae Parker limited. Okay, we already went over all this stuff.
Yeah, again, I've been paying attention to the news ticker today, so we are ready. We're hyped. We're got our teams.
Indeed. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. We'll be on again Sunday. At least that's the plan.
That is the plan. So
trying to go on right after the fantasy footballers come off. So come see us then. Thanks again for joining us. Follow, subscribe.
All right. Let me leave you with our sign-off drop.
Job's done.
Job's done. See you, buddy.